Hey YouTube, it's raining here. I haven't made a video in a while, and I wanted to do an update for a couple of reasons. One of the main, and I'm going to going to the park right now, but one of the main reasons I wanted to do an update was because I've been off benzos now for 3 years. May 5th was the 3-year mark. It's been a really rough month for me, really bad. But I have some news that might help some of y'all. As you know, I guess a little recap for some of you that don't know me, maybe this is the first time watching the video. I was about 5 years ago, well, about 9 years ago, I started having panic attacks. I got on xanax for about 6 years, daily use, and through bad lifestyle choices, my health went downhill. And in my early to mid 20s, after graduating college, I ended up hitting a really bad point where I attempted suicide. And after that, I survived. Oh, I also was dealing with a chronic pain condition that was debilitating on top of everything, called prostatitis or interstitial cystitis. And a combination of everything led me to an attempt at suicide. But I've always been pretty depressed since I was a kid. And anyway, so that's a little about my history. I gave up. I tried to start getting healthy. I gave up smoking, drinking, started eating a mostly paleo diet, running 3 to 5 miles a day. I lost 50 pounds. I was over 200 pounds a few years ago, and I was in the worst health ever. I had so many physical issues: chronic nausea, chronic headaches, chronic post-nasal drip, the disease I had of my bladder. I had so many things going on. So I cleaned myself up, and a lot of my physical symptoms went away. And despite what the doctors told me, I went into a remission with my bladder situation as well. But when I finally decided to quit Xanax, I was in for a whole different world of pain. I had a lot of burning skin sensations, and obviously debilitating anxiety and panic attacks daily, which was, I guess, well, I wouldn't say it was worse, but akin to what it was like when I first started having panic attacks. The Xanax helped for a while, but so anyway, I'm 3 years off Xanax, and I do take gabapentin, a low dose. I take like about 200 to 400 milligrams a day. Average starting dose is like 300 3 times a day, so I'm well under that. My doctor said that at my dosage it really wouldn't have any effect, but it helps me. It keeps away my burning. I don't want to take it, but every time I stop taking it, my burning comes back. So what I've learned here, okay, I could talk all day, and you can watch some of my videos. Let me just get to what I'm talking about. My grandmother died last month, at the end of April, and she was one of my best friends in the whole world. And I know a lot of people say that, very cliche, but she really was. We talked every day. She raised me. She was more of a mother to me. I was closer to her than my own mom. And she was a cool grandma. Like, we used to, you know, drink wine coolers together when I was in high school. I tried weed one time with her when she used to smoke. She was pretty young. It was unexpected. She died on an operating table, having an aneurysm operated on. But she left behind a goddaughter, or great-granddaughter, and I'm moving home back to Virginia to help take care of her and be there for my family. So I've been dealing with depersonalization for a long time now too, and I've always said that I was like halfway back. I've been doing really well. I started doing a lot better, but something happened during the visit back to my grandma's. I've had a hard time traveling. Haven't traveled for years. I've been trying to get back to my home state, Virginia to be closer to my family, but because of my physical health, my mental health, I've been really restricted in that. So it's been very difficult. But when she passed, it obviously sent a shock through my system. I've never experienced loss in my life, so it was a new level of pain. I've suffered from severe depression for so many years that it was kind of different. I don't even know how to explain it, but the worst feeling I can imagine. Got really upset. But I went home and I went to the funeral and I did things that I never thought I'd ever do before. And I did a lot of praying, and I feel that God was there for me. And I've never been very Christian, but I've been looking towards that, and the closer I get to God, and you call it placebo or whatever, but I feel it, I have been feeling so much better. I could never even get up in front of people to begin with in college and speak without having horrible anxiety. And I was sitting there in this church with about 200 people, and I'm a good writer. I've written a lot of things. My mom wanted me to write something, so I wrote this thing. And I didn't think that the preacher did a very good job of representing my grandmother. I knew I needed to say it when they said, hey, would anyone else like to speak? I was like, oh man, I was so nervous. My heart was just in my shoe. I mean, I was about to, I was like, I can't do this. And I was like, I'm gonna regret this for the rest of my life. There's my grandma in her casket, and I have one opportunity to do it, and I was like, I can't do it. I prayed deeply, and I said, God, please help me. I gotta do this. And I instantly felt this warming overcame me, and it was like someone carried me, and I had no anxiety. My heart rate normalized. Everything just felt calm. I went up there and I gave a speech. People were coming up to me afterwards saying it was the most beautiful thing, that it described her so perfectly, and all this stuff. So I really did her a good, represented her well in that. But the takeaway is that I've been trying to lean on my faith, and it's hard. I start to slip back, but during that trip, which usually I can't stay long because I start to have so much stress from being away from home, increased burning and anxiety and all these things, but I ended up having one of the most successful trips that I've ever had. And I was there for my family, and my depersonalization was virtually gone. And throughout all this, I've realized that a lot of the stuff we hold on to, the depersonalization, is the constant worry and fear of it, and that's what keeps it going. But in that situation where I couldn't focus on that, I had to focus on other things. It dissipated on its own, and mostly. And then since then, I've been going on lots of trips and doing lots more things once I realized that this doesn't have a hold on me, and praying a lot. And the closer I get to God, the better I feel mentally. And I'm a very science-based person. I'm a very practical person. I have to, have evidence. So it's been hard for me, but I was like, why not give it a try? And placebos certainly don't work on me, that's for sure. But I am excited to share that with you. I think that God's going to get me the other halfway. And despite the fact that I've been in a depression because of my gram, I've had a lot of hope for her being, pain-free now after a lot of years of pain. And continuing my pursuit for physical health and well-being, and also my faith. So yeah, I'm 3 years off. I have no physical symptoms whatsoever. I have depersonalization and burning, but it's not from Xanax. It's from really bad stress and anxiety. When that stuff peaks, I'll have those symptoms come back. So still working on natural ways to do my stress relief. I'm getting ready to buy a house on 3 acres, and I'm going to have a hammock, and I'm going to force myself to meditate and which is one of the things I know will help me a ton in my final stages of recovery. So anyway, there's lots of hope. Things get better. Being on benzos is not doesn't mean your brain's ruined or destroyed. If anything, I feel my memory's better than it ever was. I've learned so much through this experience. I appreciate life more than most people. Just the little things that I do now. I can go to grocery stores. I can go hiking and camping, and I can drive and do everything I could do before, but even more so without a benzo. And all that is through knowledge and learning and support. But you got to get out there. You got to push yourself a little bit to do things you're not comfortable with. That's the only way to get out of there. And there's a lot of books like At Last a Life that helped me. Audio books like The Untethered Soul, The Power of Now. Oh man, there's a couple other really good ones. The Dare Response, which I didn't even really finish the Dare Response because it really was just an audio version of At Last a Life, and a lot of that stuff I was already doing. But absolutely, that stuff is way more powerful than any medication. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm you know, I was working for the Department of Defense. I just quit because I've landed some really good investments in my tech company, and you know, I got a full life, and we're buying a house, like I said. Yeah, everything's going really well. It's just being without my gram, you know, that just sucks that I'm finally getting better. I'm almost better, and now she's gone, because one of my main goals was to get better, to spend some years with her. She was only 72, but she was a heavy smoker, and we tried to get her to quit for years, and that may have been a huge factor in her development of her aneurysm. And not brain, this was a abdominal aortic aneurysm. And but God rest her soul, she was the strongest woman I've ever met. She was so sweet and caring, very progressive, very much a liberal. She said she was conservative, but she wasn't. She didn't know. She would have, she loved everybody. She would have given you a shirt off her back, but if you were like in her circle and someone messed with you, oh my gosh, she's gotten into fist fights with people. She would cuss out my teachers even if I was in the wrong. She was a firecracker, man. She wasn't your sweet old granny kind of woman. She was to her grandkids and great-grandkids, but not to people that were a threat to them or family. No. She would go down swinging, literally. She was a firecracker, but she had a spacious heart. Oh man, just an unwavering strength. So God rest her soul. And I'm going to try to honor her by being a seed of her, and spread the message of love. I want to live life and travel the world and spread my message, and things are getting better. So yeah, 3 years off Xanax. I mean, I was probably better at I was probably better. I was still dealing with anxiety, still am, but that is just stuff I've been dealing with my whole life that I haven't treated properly. But now that I'm treating it properly through healthy diet, exercise, meditation, prayer, doing things that besides sitting there stewing in my own misery, yeah, now things are going really well. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up. I would love for you to read those books or listen to them. Check out my other videos, because I have a lot of information. Those are very heavy on info that might help you out. And please subscribe. I always appreciate people that subscribe, and I like to spread the word and get this message out there. But anyway, yeah, benzos isn't a life sentence. You're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Do not get into that crazy benzo buddies forums, man. You'll get lost in there. You could never have taken a benzo in your life and get reading those stories and get scared to death. I mean, like, honestly, a lot of that stuff is, you think it helps, but it really doesn't. I just, when I started reading those rooms, I couldn't get out of it. It was like a trap. And nothing against you guys, you know, some people, it could help some people, but for me, it was, I mean, it's always good to have a story to relate to, but if you get into reading those negative stories, like I've said before, I'll say it again real quick, 99% of the stories on benzo buddies are negative, because the people that, and 95% of people, or I think it's 98% of people that don't have pause or, you know, long-term effects, they're out there living their life. They're not on benzo buddies. So those are the very unfortunate few that have had extreme situations. But with any medication, with anything, you'll have those people. So it's very unfortunate for them, but a lot of people can get themselves worked up and have untreated anxiety and think that it's a benzo related issue. So, not trying to offend anybody here. That is my truth. That's my experience. Once I stopped and I got out of the rooms and started trying to live life despite my physical manifestations of anxiety, that's when I started to get better. So, anyway, God bless you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.